Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining this webinar today. We'll be having an overview of ERPNext and some of the products on framework. So the host for today's webinar is Yusuf Mulinya from ERP Champions Limited. A bit of background of ERP Champions as well as Yusuf. So ERP Champions is our registered silver partner with Frappe. They are based out of Kampala, Uganda. And Yusuf is a CFO as well as a co-founder at ERP Champions. He's an accountant by profession and has around 20 years of experience using and implementing Tally as well. So he has upgraded himself to ERPNext and wishes to enable enable others also to be enabled with ERPNext. So Yusuf, over to you. So we can start with the presentation. You can just maybe introduce yourself and then start.
Thank you, Ankita. Please allow me to share my screen.
Just give me a minute.
Yes.
I think you'll be able to share your screen.
Great. Thank you for that introduction, Ankita. Yes, my name is Yusuf Mulinya. I'm glad to be a part of this webinar with people who are thinking ERP. So I am the lead trainer with ERP Champions, and as introduced, we are ERPNext implementers based out here in Kampala, Uganda, East Africa, serving mainly an East African clientele, but we are looking forward to serving a global clientele. And that is one of the reasons why we love ERPNext. So we are proud to be in partnership with Frappe Technologies, who are definitely committed to building awesome open source software, as you're about to witness. So I do encourage you to visit frappe.io so that you can explore these and many more products. So their flagship product being ERPNext, built on top of the Frappe framework, which also gives us confidence that we too can build amazing apps like they are doing, and that all these other applications, or most of them, are integrated with ERPNext, as you'll see. So why do we love ERPNext? Well, we love the fact that it has almost everything that we need, and starting with accounting, CRM, manufacturing, and so on. But more importantly, that it's also easy for us to integrate with external or third-party applications, and that we are able to do automations so that we are slightly more efficient than before. So as introduced, I have years and years of experience with Tally ERP. And I come into this space with a lot of pain points, but just to address a couple of them. Well, with Tally, it's only the accounting team which uses the system. And that means we're responsible for all the data entry across the organization, and yet the organization has various data entry points, right? So we were always the first to arrive and the last to leave office, and that wasn't really pleasing. And furthermore, other members, especially the sales team, everyone has information in their own corners using their own spreadsheets or their own documents, right? And especially for sales, we found that this was really a breeding ground for fraud or whatever it is, you know? So it's not conducive for transparency, right? And furthermore, the fact that we had to resort to using Excel to create the other spreadsheets that we needed, especially reconciliation documents, right? For those who are dealing with distribution companies, you would appreciate where you you have a number of people who you have to reconcile, you really have no choice but to create Excel spreadsheets. So as we go on with this demo, I hope you see how these pain points have been addressed. Let me switch over to ERPNext. Right, so as you see, ERPNext is a web-based application. I'll begin by showing you around navigation. It's quite important to see how easy it is to navigate and why we like it. This icon for ERPNext is the home screen. Each time you click it, you get back home. On this side is the list of all the modules as you are seeing: accounting, CRM, buying, selling, manufacturing, stock, HR, payroll, assets, and so on. Now for each module, the details are right here. And the structure is it begins by giving you a quick help section to help you maybe navigate around ERPNext within that module. It will give you shortcuts, which are the frequently visited maybe transactions or things that you need to do within that module. And then it will end up with the masters or the main documents which you need to use that module. Okay. So furthermore, there is an awesome bar. It's a search bar, but it's called the awesome bar. We like it because you can really use it to navigate easier. Case in point, I could say companies, and it opens that document. Okay. So in this case, I've opened the company document, which shows me the list of all my companies. And ERPNext has an unlimited number of companies that you can create and manage, and it will help you set the relationships. So here you can see that ERP Champions is the parent of Sleep Medicals. And within each company, you will be able to set defaults. So I'm able to set the currency, and of course, it's a multi-currency software. I'm able to set a bunch of defaults, say my default bank account, default cash account. Through all the modules, I'm able to set my defaults. So it's also important that when you're working with multiple companies, that you might need to have session defaults, right? Because you might say, in this session that I'm logged in, I'm working on only this company. So it's important to set the company that you're working so that you don't mispost or, and you can set many more session defaults, or the currency or the warehouse. So you can create many more session defaults, right? Another key advantage is that we can work with multiple windows, so that, as you can see, I could create, right click on this and open a new tab. And that will allow me to preserve what I'm working on here and move on and use another tab, so that in case whatever I'm working on here helps me in my previous tab, I'm able to come back. So all these are some nice tips and tricks to help you navigate. So when you're migrating from any software, especially Tally or QuickBooks, there is a data import tool which will allow you to use Excel to organize your data in particular formats. So case in point, this was used to organize the items from one system to be imported. And I could just show you the structure of the Excel document, perhaps. Overall, this is the structure. So it gives you a template, and it will allow you to organize your data in that particular way. And that will facilitate all your data imports and enable you migrate. Okay. So another key feature is that there are unlimited users in ERPNext. Okay. So for us who are struggling working only the accounts team, we wanted the sales team to also log in and post your own sales and do your own reconciliations, So you're able to create multiple users. You're able to give them all sorts of Of course, you're going to give them their credentials, but you're able to give them all kinds of role permissions and role profiles, the things that they can do, what modules they can access and which ones they cannot access. And you're also able to monitor their activity logs and access logs and give them or reduce their permissions. And that really allows flexibility, right? So in case you don't want a sales staff to look into your financial documents, you will be able to achieve that. And even if you want them to have access to just one document, that will still be possible. Someone needs to mute. Okay. So now, being an accountant, of course, when I was evaluating ERPNext, I had to start off right with the accounting module. I had to make sure that I'm not foregoing anything and that indeed ERPNext is full. At least let everything else be, not 100%, but accounting has to be 100%. So I'm here to give you the assurance that the accounting module is fully complete, and just as you see, it can give you dashboards and number cards, which you need to keep at your fingertips, your shortcuts to your main documents, your chart of accounts, the main transactions, sales and purchase invoices and journal entries, payment entries, your general ledger, trial balance. And if you notice, the structure is the same for each module, right? You'll have an introduction, a help section. You have a dashboard and numbers, shortcuts, and then these masters, right? So here you will be able to track all your companies and your fiscal years and whatnot, all your payment entries, modes of payment, your taxation is intact, your cost centers and budgeting. Like I mentioned, you're able to deal with multi-currency. Bank reconciliation is very good here because there is a manual method and also a semi-automatic method, which allows you to, once again, use Excel to arrange your data into particular format, and you import your bank statement. That reduces on data entry. These played settings will allow integration with banks, so that will be now the fully automatic mode of bank reconciliation. You're able to handle your opening and closing transactions and manage subscriptions, which require repetitive transactions, as well as manage your shareholders. So the accounting module really is fully, is quite complete. Of course, accounts payable, you're able to post your purchases and receive payments against them and have your accounts payable analysis. This is an aging analysis, and it shows you the invoices and their age. These are under 30 days, so the biggest percentage is beyond 60 days, right? And that will call for your action. So it will also list those invoices and what is outstanding, but it can also give you an accounts payable summary, which will now be at a customer level. The other one was at an invoice level, but also at a supplier level, right? What is outstanding at a supplier level. So both invoice and supplier level. Same report under receivables. These are your customers, right? Of course, it's easy to make cash sales. It also has a point of sale, and anyone with this point of sale link can log in and make sales. So for those of you with a branch network or thinking of expanding into various branches, it's easy as having a tablet or a laptop so that you quickly begin your point of sales. So the accounts receivable report is just as similar to the accounts payable. In this case, this business has nothing. But as you can see, I'm able to switch right here between one company and another to check on the receivables, right? As well as the receivable summary. Okay. And of course, accountants would be keen to see the structure of the general ledger, that you have a general ledger with many columns, okay? And that allows us to keep track of as much data as we want and analyze as much as we want. Okay, these up here are filters. So it's filtered by date, from date to a date. By company, I can switch companies. I can select an account I would like, all right? Or I can look at 2 accounts or just one. Now the data, or by voucher, okay? I could also look at my customer ledger from here, okay? And same is true for suppliers. So the general ledger is very nice. You could, if the columns are too many, you can remove them. And if there's a column that you want that is not available, you can always add the column. And furthermore, you can export to Excel. So for most of these documents, yes, keep in mind that you can export the documents. So beyond the general ledger is the basics, the P and L. So you can see on the search bar, I could just type P and L, PAL, to get me the profit and loss statement, right? Which starts with a graphical representation as well as the detail. Same for the balance sheet, cash flow, and so on. Your trial balances are intact. Okay, so these are the standard reports, and keep in mind that ERPNext being an open source software means that it is fully customizable. If there's a report that you like that you do not see in here, we can work on it, okay? So furthermore, a slide more further discussion on some of the masters. We can create customers easily. And for most of these masters, there is a quick entry, which just allows you to create with just minimum mandatory fields. And then there is the detailed entry, which allows you now to, or rather the full form, which allows you now to enter all the other details, the price lists and whatnot. Interestingly, it has a dashboard which pulls together all transactions which are connected to this customer. So you can tell for this customer, these are the various transactions, right? And set the contact details, tax details, specify payment terms, credit limits, and so on. Likewise, the supplier master allows you to do the same. The item master is what's also very interesting, because it keeps track of not just your stock items, your raw materials, your products, but it also allows you to keep track of the fixed assets, because there's also an asset module. And beyond keeping track of stocks, if it's not a stock item, you don't have to mark it as stock. So you can also keep track of your service items. So the item master also has a dashboard which shows you the high-level activity. You can tell which is the busiest month or not. You can see all the documents which are connected to your items, and a quick level of the stock, a quick overview of the stocks which are in each of your stores, right? You can also set other item defaults, maybe expiry dates, your valuation methods, first in, first out, which most accountants love. You can create barcodes. Perhaps you have, you'd like to set reorder levels and reorder quantities, and these and which document will be auto-generated in case you hit that reorder level. So yes, this is what facilitates your planning, okay? And you can have multiple units of measure, right? So similar to Tally especially, which allows us to have complex units. So we too can have complex units here, and you set their conversion factors, as well as keep track of items with their serial numbers and batches, okay? Set many more defaults for items. It's a really good feature here. And where would I don't talk about chart of accounts? Everyone would like to know what the chart of accounts looks like. So this is the tree view across the 5 segments of the chart of accounts, and that you can expand it. and collapse it, or you can click on each one of them and expand it and collapse it the way you want, and that it's easy to create a sub account, or as it's called in here, a child account. So one with a folder is a parent, and then the others are the child or the children, right? So you can easily add an account. It's quite straightforward. In 1 or 2 steps, you can create an account and classify it properly. So you can also view the chart of accounts in a different way. So that was the tree view, but you can also have the list view. Okay. Which really is the list of all your accounts. And this can help you navigate in different ways. Maybe you want to filter by account number, okay? And maybe create other filters to help you access the details. So, so imagine if I'm to paint a scenario of this being a manufacturing company. Excuse me. So as a manufacturing company, you know that you would need bills of materials, which simply are a list of the materials which go into what you need to make. So I have 2 sample bills of material. I have for this hamper deluxe 101. So to make one piece, I need these ingredients, a piece of each of these and the cost, all right? So this is an example of a simple bill of materials which does not require other operations. It's just, what are my raw materials? I put them together to get a finished good. But I could have a more complex bill of materials, which not only, this is the 202, which not only shows me the raw materials that I need, but it also has operations. And operations, these are processes that I need to go through to make that product. Maybe there's cooking, there's welding, or there's assembly. And within each of this process, you need to know how much time it takes, in this case, 60 minutes, and keep track of the operating cost. All right, so these are the 2 types of bills of materials. And for the simple bill of materials, within the connections, and if you notice, ERPNext has a lot of features in this tab mode, which also helps you in navigation. You don't have to scroll all the way down. You can maintain your one screen as you go through different sections. So with a simple bill of materials, case in point, all I would need, I could make it easy for me to manufacture what I'm manufacturing. I could have a stock entry of type repack. And what this does, it takes the details from my bill of materials to say, let's say I want to make 5 of these, and it will show me that my raw materials from my stores turn into the finished good, all right? So this is a quick way of repacking or manufacturing what I do, especially if it does not involve operations, okay? Now, for the bill of materials, which requires operations, that would be a slightly different process. Case in point, getting back to the, as you can see how I'm navigating, I could have a production plan. So these are the various production plans started, and their various statuses. So on this particular production plan, I had to make hampers, 15 pieces, okay? And it enabled me to request materials. So that's part of the planning process. In case I do not have the raw materials, I'm able to create a material request which can go through the approval levels. So this material request status shows that these items were ordered, right? And what you notice is that for every document, once again, there are connections to various documents which are related. So you can follow up that this material request has a purchase order, right? And that this purchase order was completed on this date and it's billed. If I check the details of this purchase order, I can tell who the supplier was, where the goods came to, and their various rates. And I could check, I can also check the terms and conditions, payment terms for that supplier. And in the connections, I can see that it's connected to a purchase invoice. So basically that is a quick overview of the procurement process, and that this invoice is overdue, it's not yet paid, right? Just to demonstrate to you that within this purchase invoice, I could create a payment for this, just to demonstrate how easy it is to make a transaction. So it creates a payment entry of type pay, okay? Now, there are three types. Of course, the type receive is for customers. You're receiving money from them. And the internal transfer is the one which is you're receiving money from, or rather transferring money from one bank to another bank. So if it's of type pay, I could set the mode of payment. And my mode of payment, if it is bank, I could attach it to my bank record, right? So I'm paying this supplier. I could also have the supplier bank details right here. And what you notice is I don't really need to check on my accounts because the bank is connected to my bank account. Obviously, I'm clearing the creditors. Okay, so the paid amount by default will be the invoice amount, and I could pay it in full, or I could pay just a portion of it. And that portion is what will be attached to that invoice. Give it a check reference, save, and submit. Okay. In case you've made an error, it's easy to rectify it. You can cancel that transaction. Right? Either you create a new transaction or you simply amend this transaction. Okay. So that's how to navigate transaction creation and editing. Of course, saving means it's just in draft form. You can still edit it, but when you submit, that means it's permanently committed to your ledgers. So once a transaction is submitted, you can view the impact on your ledgers straight from that transaction. You can see that I paid from my bank and that I've offset my debtors situation. I've debited my debtors. Okay. So similarly, I could demo how to post a new sales invoice. And of course, there are many ways of skinning the cat. I could type from the search bar, or I could go through my shortcuts. Okay. Okay, I'm just having some performance issues. I would select my customer. Accounting dimensions. These are the various ways of classifying and segmenting your data. It could be a cost center, it could be a branch, or a project, whichever way. And then you select whichever item it is that you are selling, in which case this is a hamper. So just by typing a few letters, I'm able to sort through the list of transactions I want. And if your organization has a lot of items, you could simply download this items table in Excel. I'm not sure if you're able to see the Excel which has come through, but you are able to download an Excel template, which you can then use to paste all the items, and then you upload that spreadsheet, and it will autofill all your items here. So you don't You don't have to enter item by item. So that bulk, that's a bulk way of processing your transactions. Okay, so you save, and if you're sure of yourself, you then submit that document. Okay, so of course this is a credit sale, but if it was a cash sale, I would have included payment, and I would have set the various payment accounts right here, right? I would have set my buying terms, or rather my selling terms. And once again, each document will have all the connected documents to it. And from this, I can view my accounting ledger. I should also be able to view my stock ledger. Okay. That's great. So I've been able to demo selling. Of course, the entire selling process, all the way from quotations, right? All the way from customer creation, quotations, sales orders, invoices, delivery notes, it's all sorted. And like I mentioned, the point of sale is also a core feature here. I could just open this. So if you have various branches and locations, this feature is quite critical for you. It's easy for you to have a point of sale, and within just 2 or 3 clicks, you're able to make a transaction. All right, one piece checkout. Select whether it was cash or bank, depending on the payment method, and you complete. Okay, and you can print the receipt. So we find that that is also critical. But furthermore, or rather before the sales process, is the CRM. And the CRM will help you maintain that database of all your leads and contacts in one place. No more silos of information, all right? And with each lead, we are able to keep track of the conversations that we are having that are necessary to convert that lead, right? And the various statuses. So maybe some of them are open, maybe some of them at an opportunity stage, some of them at quotation stage, maybe some of them were converted to customers, right? And for each lead, yeah, you're able to keep track of all these details, classify them properly for your further analysis later on, schedule activities and tasks, and have a discussion here with your team. You can add a note, keep track of all this, and of course, the connections, the documents which are connected to that particular client. Then stock market.
Just give us a few minutes. I think he's facing some bandwidth issues. Apologies for this interruption. So I think there is some issue that the host is facing. Who is just joining in.
Great. My apologies for that. Slight technical issue. Allow me to reshare my screen. Let me share my screen, please.
Just a second. Check if you can.
Okay, thank you. So I was at the point of demonstrating the the stock ledger. And that we can view the ins and outs and the balances of all the items that are in stock, as well as their valuations, the incoming rates, and the total stock valuation. We're able to filter by warehouse or filter by a particular item. Okay. So that is quite flexible. And remember, for each of these reports, you can always export to Excel for your further analysis, add or remove columns, and create your unique reports. So the stock management is quite complete, and you can get the stock balances at any one time, stock summaries. Stock reconciliation is also important for your physical stock counts, as well as the landed cost voucher, which allows you to add, especially for import companies, you're able to combine the cost of the product with all other import costs, taxes, and transports and whatnot. That is a landed cost voucher. These and many more reports within the stock management. The HRR is also quite a detailed module, right? And it will allow you to keep track of all your employees. You'll be able to maintain all the bio data of each employee, say the date they joined and whatnot, keep track of as much information about them as possible. Beyond employee records, there are all these other processes within HR, say recruitment, right? You can create job openings. You can create staffing plans. You can publish these job openings on websites. Case in point, this job opening is shared onto my, yes, I think it's visible. This is my website. You can view that I've published a job opening with this job description, and that candidates can apply online. So, and then once you've received these applications, you can schedule interviews and have various interviewees or rather interviewers provide feedback so that you make the appropriate decision you want, and then go ahead and create appointment letters and onboard or provide or offer your employee a job. Then you can have all these onboarding templates. Once someone is now in, you're able to keep track of all the activities which you need to do to make sure the person settles in comfortably, keep track of their skills, arrange training programs and training events so that you're able to handle promotions and transfers. Also, be able to log in all the grievances and keep track of employee work summaries, either on a daily basis or whichever periodically that you would like. Of course, you'll be able to keep track of employee performance with this appraisal document. This both self-assessment as well as assessment from the superiors. Maintain shifts and attendance records and check-ins, right? So that you're able, as well as timesheets, so that you're able to keep track of employee time. Then employees are able to make expense claims, expense requests, as well as make accountabilities for the advances that have been given. You're able to do salary advances or other advances. And keep in mind, for each of these documents, there's a list view and then there's a report view. All right. And especially if you want to export, right? And for each of these, you can also create a dashboard or a Kanban if needed, right? And these dashboards are customizable depending on what you need. Okay. So beyond that, of course, the leave management is also critical. Employees are able to log in and lodge their leave requests, which can be approved. And then finally, we're able to keep track, or rather to compute the payrolls and the various components, which are tax components or social security components, and ERPNext will automatically create the payroll entries. So these and more within ERPNext. This is just a high-level overview of what to expect if you adopt ERPNext. Switching back to my presentation. Now, above and beyond what is within ERPNext, we've been able to customize the various Excel reports that our clients use, and we're able to create these Excel reports within the ERP. So case in point, this was a petrol station company which had to monitor meter readings. And you know, petrol station, you have to keep track of your sales, your cash sales, your debts, expenses, and what, so that you reconcile each meter. So this here shows that we were able to replicate that Excel report in ERPNext. So that again helps with efficiency and report generation. So keep in mind that all the reports which you need can be customized and created within the ERP. We've also been able to do a customization for a property management company, and we've been able to give them documents which are specific to their needs. So you're able to easily track the properties that are under management and the units and landlords and tenants. And of course, within this business, there are particular pain points like managing the tenancies and auto invoicing and rent escalation and so on. So really, this shows that, and it gives us confidence that with ERPNext, we're able to serve all kinds of industries, and we're able to customize it to fully, meet our client needs. So one of the products of ERPNext is Frappe Cloud, which handles the hosting, all your hosting needs. You don't need to have your own hosting providers. And it starts as low as $10 a month, all right, with limited time. Now, their pricing structure does not limit users as most ERPs do, only usage, CPU usage. So you can still have your unlimited users, but if the usage exceeds this, then it will keep escalating and so on. Okay. So this is the shared hosting, but perhaps I could show you the detailed Proper Cloud pricing plans. Yes, indeed, this is it. So this is the shared hosting, which starts from $10 to $100, but the dedicated hosting will start from $250, right? And beyond. So contact frappe.io to discuss your hosting needs. Now, us as ERP implementers, well, we also have our own pricing structure, which we do take into consideration various criteria. Maybe you're a small business or medium or enterprise. So we do take into consideration the number of users, the number of employees you have, maybe how many integrations do you want, which system are you moving from, do you have an IT department? But generally, the pricing could start from as low as $2,000 all the way to 12,000 and beyond. Plus, there's an annual maintenance contract, which could be 30% of the implementation fees. So these implementation fees are a one-time fee. That's what you keep in mind, which goes to the implementer. But then there's hosting, which I've shown, the Frappe Cloud, which starts from $10 a month. So that is a recurring cost. And then the annual maintenance recurs annually. So these and more, contact us at erpchampions.com for your implementation needs. But of course, it's also possible for you to implement ERPNext by yourself, self-implementation. And if that is something that you would like to do, keep in mind that there is a forum. You can go to discuss.io, which is has a lot of gems, a wealth of knowledge for anyone. Plus, there's a link for documentation so that you can read this for yourself and do it for yourself. With that, I come to the end of my submission. Thank you for your time. Since I went off, I must have lost a lot of all the questions.
No problem, Yusuf. So maybe I can actually take up a couple of questions which we have in the chat box. Just a minute. So David did ask that how can we see the standard selling rate in the item master, list view or image view? Maybe you can show it in the.
How can we show?
How can we see the standard selling rate in the item master, list view or image view?
The standard selling rate in the item master.
Yeah.
Okay. So if I open the item master, now, first of all, the list view, these are the only columns which are available, but I'm able to customize the list settings, and I could add other fields like price. This price here.
It will be standard.
Standard? Yes.
Value, yeah,
So,
standard
yes.
selling rate, yeah.
Yes, so I could add the standard selling price right here in my list view. Alternatively, if I open the item as well, within the actions, I am able to view the prices as well. I hope that answers this question.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Do we have report writers?
Report writers? Well,
yeah.
we do have a report builder instead, right? And that's why I was able to showcase that we've been able to create Where's the report builder? Is it in my settings?
It will be at
Maybe
the end. Yeah, last one. At the last builder.
Oh, build, right. Yes. So with this report builder, you're able to create the reports like the one I've shown you to help us bring all those Excel reports right into the ERP. So that's no problem. Thank you for that.
Then we have a question. Is there an opportunity that the profit and loss statement can be generated yearly, monthly, or quarterly?
Yes, definitely. So P&L. Yes, this is the default view that it's yearly, but yes, you can view it monthly, right? So that you can see all your data on a monthly basis. There's quarterly as well, half yearly as well, right? And if there were more financial years, I could also compare year on year. Thank you for that.
Next question is do we have any doc type for probationary confirmation?
For
Probationary confirmation.
probationary confirmation, that is for employees?
That would be for employees. We don't have it.
We don't have it, but again,
yeah.
But again, this is a highly customizable system. It's very easy to create doc types, right? Yeah. So whatever is not in the system, it's very easy to create it. Okay.
I think there are a couple of, there are other questions as well. Just let me just scroll through them. Yeah, Murtaza did ask that how can we create performa invoice through the sales order? So maybe we can show that.
The performa invoice in this case would be more or less a quotation. And of course, if the word performa invoice is what you want, you can always change the document names, right? So this is an example of a quotation, right? It can be changed to performa invoice. So yes, it's possible to create performa invoices.
Okay. Deepak did ask that can we also know a bit about bank reconciliations?
Okay, just a little bit because it's a detailed process. So bank reconciliation always starts with bank clearance, right? So that act of crossing off the transactions which are in your ledger and comparing them to those which are in your bank account, right? So this would be it. I would use the bank clearance and I would go transaction by transaction, indicating the bank clearance date, all right? So that is the first step. I go marking, right? And as I mark them, I update the clearance date, right? And those which are cleared are taken off, okay? I'll be left with transactions which are in my ledger, but they are not in the bank statement. From then, I can then go to the bank reconciliation statement. Okay. And this bank reconciliation statement, if it shows transactions here, so these are the uncleared transactions. So it will always give me a summary here that this is the balance per my general ledger. And these are the outstanding deposits and checks yet to clear, and then compare it to the balance per bank statement. All right. So that's just a high level bank reconciliation process, and that is the manual process. But there's also the bank reconciliation tool, as I mentioned earlier, that you could be able to I didn't create a bank account. Yeah, with this bank reconciliation tool, you're able to upload an Excel bank statement and it will pre-fill all these entries here. And you would still go on taking action. Either you match the transaction against the existing voucher in the system or you create a transaction. So this is the semi-automatic way of reconciling. And it also has the auto reconcile feature, which can ease in your reconciliation, especially if you have matched the party names in the bank statement with the party names in your system. It can ease in bank reconciliation. I hope that is a quick overview of bank reconciliation for you. Next question.
So next question, is it possible to customize the look in order to match your company, I think logos and everything? Maybe he's referring to print formats.
Oh, yes. Print formats? Yes, but you can also have your company logo right here. But for every document, yes, there's a print format builder, which will allow you to have print formats. And of course, in here, this is just a default. But yes, you're able to create, yes, a print format so that you have your default, your print, your company logo, and create the order or the invoice in the style which you would like. Okay, so in this case, they are not yet created, but yeah, it's very possible for you.
Next question is it possible to integrate FAPE with any other finance tool like Tally?
Well, personally, I haven't done that. I haven't had anyone who has done that, but it is not recommended. Instead, there is a Tally migration tool, which can help you migrate from Tally. So really our job here is to help you migrate from Tally and into ERPNext. But if there are particular reports which you love that are in Tally that are not in ERPNext, I guarantee you we can create them. But I haven't come across such a tool which integrates ERPNext with another accounting system. Mainly, we've been able to integrate with tax systems, with banks, payment processors, in HR, biometric devices, things like that. Thank you.
The next question is by Jillian. In the item master, is it possible to have a standard selling rate based on the conversion UOM to have price for pieces and box in the item master?
Yes, very possible, to keep it short.
Next question is by Arsini. What could you advise to a starter, cloud or on-prem? So I think Arsini, maybe we can have a separate call on this. What is your requirements and everything, according to which we can suggest you a plan.
Yep.
Next is Kimberly's. In leave management, how do I set up earned leave so that it accrues at 0.33 points per month and converts to 1 day of leave after 3 months?
Yes, it's possible to do that. Maybe we could set up a call for that, to do that in specific aspect. Yeah.
Yeah, Kimberly, you can just reach out to us through our contact us form, which we have shared in the chat box. So you can have a discussion directly with Yusuf on this. Next question is by Alessandro's. I have to implement e-consignment stock. So the raw materials arrive with a document that fulfills a raw material order, increase my stock, but doesn't generate a supplier invoice. When I use my material in production, I should generate a document that will be linked to supplier invoice. This document can include material from different raw material documents. What's the best solution for this case?
Wow, I'm not too sure I've understood that question.
Yeah, I think, Yusuf, this is mostly on the solutioning piece. So, Alessandro, why don't you actually generate this issue to our query session, which is scheduled for tomorrow, and we'll help you on this piece. I'll share the link in the chat box for the same. Next question is by Viral. How can we add background in image in the Jinja print format?
Oh, that's also beyond my accounting pay grade, but I think it's possible.
Yeah, it's possible. We can do it, but some configurations and customizations are required for that.
Definitely, yeah.
Can I reevaluate the inventory value after raising sales invoice?
Yes, I would think it's possible to revalue inventory, especially in this stock reconciliation, right? You're able to do a physical verification and update its value, right? Update its valuation rate. I think that's what you can use to update an item revaluation, or within the item master itself. There's a valuation rate here, which is editable. Yep.
The next question is there a way to see the updated item price in the item list form and image view?
Is there a way to view?
Updated item price. I think you did show that.
Yes, we did. I think we discussed that. Yeah.
We already discussed that. Can we book expenses for purchase in profit and loss without making delivery note?
Can we book expenses?
Yeah.
Without making a delivery note? Maybe I need to understand that question clearly.
Can I elaborate on
yeah,
this?
yeah. Can you just elaborate?
Yeah. So right now what is happening is perpetual inventory is on. If it is enabled, then if I make a purchase for a particular item, okay, and without making a delivery note, that expense is not getting booked in my profit and loss account. So what is the way out for this?
So you're making a purchase invoice?
Yeah.
And you show the item?
Yeah.
Are you able to?
That expense is not getting booked in the profit and loss account unless and until I make a delivery note of that item.
The extra, this here?
No. What I'm saying is, suppose I purchase an item for $100.
Yes.
Okay. So I want that expense entry to be hit in my profit and loss account without making a delivery note. Right now, what is happening? Unless and until you book a delivery note, that expense doesn't get hit in the profit and loss account.
Okay. How about you use the purchase invoice to update stock as well, right? And then you add under purchase charges and taxes, you add that extra expense that you want.
No, I'm saying this purchase value of $100. It is not getting booked in profit and loss account, like unless and until I make a delivery note of this item.
Okay, I get it. I think because the way ERPNext handles the cost of sales computation, right? Yeah. Purchases are within cost of sales. So they are within inventory. Okay? So until you sell that item, then that's when the cost of sales appears in the profit and loss. So once you purchase, that cost is in inventory on your balance sheet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is there a way out? Because some of the client does not book the sales or the delivery note. They only purchase the items and they want that expenses to be booked as in profit and loss account.
Yes. So I think in your chart of accounts, you could edit the cost of sales situation, or rather under expenses, under direct expenses. So you can see stock expenses. So you see under stock expenses, we don't have a purchases ledger. Yeah. So I would suggest that you create a purchases ledger.
We had tried that way also in the company setup. In stock expenses, we had changed our expense account head. But it only takes that purchase booked and not billed, that ledgers.
Booked and not billed.
There is an account.
Yes. Yes.
So it is taking that ledger only by default. Not allowing you to change.
Okay, definitely that is something that I would be very interested to look at. So if you could reach out and we look at that in detail, I would be very interested to help you solve that.
Where can I reach out to you?
Just
Yusuf, you
send an
can,
email.
yeah,
Yusuf at
Yusuf,
ERP.
yeah, you can
Mm.
just share your email ID in the chat box as well.
Right.
Just hold on.
Okay. Yusuf at erpchampions.com. Okay.
You had shared.
I've shared it in the chat.
I'm not able to see it. In QA chat?
Right here in the chat. Or at least are you able to see the screen? This is the email right here. Yusuf at erpchampions.com. Just Yusuf at erpchampions.com.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, Ankita, are we able to?
The next question is, what steps are involved in enhancing ERPNext version to the current version? Not really sure what is the question.
Yeah.
Prakash, if you can just unmute yourself and ask the question.
Hello.
Yes, you're audible.
Yeah, I'm Prakash here. Yeah, this is basically once I implement ERPNext one version, for example, 13 I have, I need to upgrade to the next version, whatever available
So
in ERPNext.
So currently, where are you hosted? Are you hosted on Prapi Cloud?
Yes, that is there.
Okay.
In one
Yeah,
of the
then
Oh.
you can actually generate a support ticket for your migration. All the migrations on Prapi Cloud are all automated.
So whatever the customization done on that will remain kept, or it will not.
So
will it be
we need to evaluate that. So maybe you can just raise a support ticket for that.
Okay,
and we
fine.
can help you in that migration.
Okay, that's it. And one more question I asked is, what level of technical or programming knowledge that is basically needed for my team to implement other places?
So
Do we need what level of knowledge required in terms
basically,
of programming or database knowledge to implement or customize?
yeah. So basically, on the functional or the technical side, you'll at least require to be abreast with Python and JavaScript, because that's on that basis the framework is based on. So it's practically based on Python and JavaScript because it's a web-based framework. So
Okay.
and of course MySQL.
Okay, fine. And he was referring to document type to be created. For any new document type can be created, he was mentioning. So how that can be linked with other documents, whatever existing doc types? That is possible by ourselves, or do we need technical knowledge to connect between those two?
For that, you don't need technical knowledge because that's already available through the front end.
So we can connect between these two document
Correct.
data.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks. That's it.
I think we have all the questions answered. I think there's one more question by Viral. What can I do if I don't have to create multiple opportunities against one lead? Only one opportunity should be created against one lead. ERP will going to alert when second time opportunity is going to be getting created.
Maybe they could create custom fields within the opportunity so that you can have other opportunities within that opportunity document. What do you think, Ankita? I think that would work.
Yeah, it will work. And also, Viral, one more way is that you can create your own workflows as well.
Yes.
So in case you don't want the second time the opportunity to be created, you can actually define that in your workflow through the workflow doc type. So automatically the system rejects of when you're creating the next opportunity on the same lead. It will reject it.
Okay.
Any other questions does anyone have? You can just unmute yourself and ask the question.
Hi Yusuf, Murtaza this side.
Hi.
So Yusuf, I have one scenario I had for the HR and payroll. So for one of my employee, I just processed the salary. Okay. And there was some tax was there that I haven't deducted. So in the system, I want to enter as a zero. But from the ERP, there was some tax calculation in that thing I had done. And then after I was not able to update that particular value. So how we can achieve that for the payroll?
In that particular payroll, the tax
Yeah.
was 0.
Yeah. So I had deducted the salary of the employee, but I
Mhm.
haven't deducted NTD tax for that employee. Okay. And as per the calculation in the system, it was having some tax around 2000 INR.
Mm.
And I want to make it as a zero because I haven't deduct any tax. So I was not able to update that like salary in the system.
And that is unique for that person for just that 1 month?
Yeah, for that 1 month.
I think I would create a new salary structure just for that 1 month. That's how I would go about it. And in that salary structure, I make the tax 0. Then in the next months, I would continue with my regular salary structure.
But I think there is some tax thing out there that has been calculated in the fiscal year. So that calculation, I think it will be done for the whole year, right? Because there are 2 tax slab are there.
Yes, you can define the different income tax slab for the rate zero. So you combine with the salary slip for the first man with that income tax less, and another man you switch to the another income tax less.
Sorry, I was not able to get that.
Say it again to help him out.
Okay, we can have the 2 income tax less, one for the calculation, and another with the we can define the tax rate zero.
Oh, okay.
So at the salary structure assignment for the first man, you choose the income tax less zero. So the tax will not calculate for that man.
Okay. So let me try that way. And if there is anything, I will just update. Or I will just mail to Yusuf. I think that will fine.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mm.
Hi, Yusuf.
Hello.
Yeah, actually, you mentioned that we can do the inventory revaluation. Even can we do it after submitting the sales invoice also? Think the inventory is there, the 10 quantity ABC item, okay? So I have billed it today. So I have sold the complete inventory now. And this month end, I have to reduce the cost now. Can I do it after selling it, after submitting the sales invoice?
It's valuation, not the selling price.
It's a valuation. Yeah, it's not the selling price. I'm not changing the selling
Mm.
price now. The cost, what I purchased, you can tell it the purchase price, or it might be if it is a opening stock, then it will be a valuation rate. So can I change it?
Have you tried using a stock reconciliation so that you enter the physical stock and you give it a new value?
Actually, we have taken it and we have already sold those inventory. But we just want to revalue the opening value now, opening stock value.
Revaluing the opening stock value.
Yeah.
Yes, you can do it. As long as you didn't block the date.
Say that again.
Yes, we can do the revaluation for the previous day. It is working.
Okay, ma'am, how can we do that?
You go to the stock reconciliation, you choose the date, and the system will fetch the quantity and the previous valuation rate, and then you can change your new valuation rate. And then system will do the reposting for the costing automatically.
Basically, a revaluation, a stock reconciliation posted on the day before the sale.
Yeah.
Will sort you out. Thank you for that.
Okay, welcome.
Okay, thank you. We'll try that. Thank you.
Yep.
I think we don't have any further questions. In case anyone has any other questions, okay, there's one more question. Okay, we can take this question and we can wrap it up. Yes, please go ahead, Ahmed. You have one question, right? In case your questions are not being answered, you can directly reach out to us through the contact us form. We'll help you answer your queries if it is not answered in this webinar. Moreover, I just want to give a round of thank you to our host as well, Yusuf Mulinya, for wonderfully hosting the entire webinar for today. And thank you all for joining in and also sharing your queries with us. And we hope that we have answered most of the queries. So thank you all for joining. And I think there's another common question that everyone is asking about the recording of the session. So the recording of the session can be viewed 30 minutes after this webinar is over from the meeting link itself. So just log into the meeting link and the webinar recording will be shown to you. Moreover, this will also be uploaded on YouTube on our official channel, as well as also I would ask all the attendees to just give us your valuable feedback as well, so that it will help us to improve in our upcoming sessions as well. So we have put in the feedback form in the chat box. So once the session is over, you can just share your feedback as well. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining in.
Thank you, Ankita.
Thank you.